Cyclone Stadium. Welcome to tonight's broadcast of high school boys varsity lacrosse as the Cyclones play host to the visiting Yellow Jackets of James Monroe. I'm Mark O'Connell along with Jeff Say, man behind the camera, of course, Johnny Krawchuk. Well, Jeff, you know, this weekend was cold and rainy and kind of miserable. I wore a coat today. Beautiful spring weather, perfect day for all kinds of activities. But our focus, of course, is on the lacrosse field tonight. And we get the Yellow Jackets. We see them for the second time against the Cyclones. What's your take on tonight's matchup?
Well, the Cyclones have a 1-6 record, Mark. They're coming off a tough loss to Fauquier, but Fauquier is one of the best teams in the district, in the region. So I expect to see Eastern View come out tonight fired up because tonight is senior night at Cyclone Stadium.
Joined now by Cyclones head coach Chris Frazier. Coach, as always, great to see you. You're past that midway point in the regular season tonight and 2 more games remaining. What's your assessment of the team in tonight's game?
It's been one of those kind of Murphy's Law. Whatever will happen, bad will happen. They've fought through it. I mean, we've had some good times, some bad ones, and they fought the whole time, and they're working hard.
Coach, 11 seniors tonight on senior night here at Eastern View. What does this senior class mean to you?
This class was the first one that I had all the way through as a head coach, starting with the guys like Connor Weeks, Matt Greenfield, Evan Edwards, those guys, Kaiser Abed. I mean, so I don't really know how it's going to be without them. Anytime losing 11 guys, and they're going to be hard to replace. But this group, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Is there going to be some tears shed tonight?
We'll try to keep it. We'll try to keep it back. I will miss those guys though, man. I mean, I'm very close with all of them, but these guys especially, it's going to be rough.
So coming off the 19-3 loss to Fauquier, what is it? You said you guys played it close in that first quarter. What is some of a takeaway from that game that you think you guys can build on here tonight?
I mean, right off the bat, we started off really well, moving the ball, possessing with clears, and I mean, a lot of the middle of the road kind of things we did well that we just got to keep putting together. And I think we have a good chance to put it together tonight. And I mean, JM's a team, they had 1 sub last year, and now they're rolling out a full team. So I mean, you're seeing it come back with all these guys, which is just good to see.
Coach, they had a pretty good goalie. We saw JM in action last week against Culpepper, and the Blue Devils won that game. One of the things that Jeff and I noted in the pregame drills is that they've got a good goalie, but he's really good from chest up. I mean, when the Blue Devils were taking shots low and on the ground, they had quite a bit of success against him. Have you noticed that same thing?
Yeah, that's something we watched. We actually watched the broadcast a couple times, played that back, and something that we tell the guys.
And you're still going to talk to us?
Yeah, of course, man, of course. But yeah, it's something we tell the guys all the time about changing their levels on their shots. It's something they teach at the next level. I mean, you're not taking shots that are going high to high or left to left, low to low. You got to change your levels. You get to a point where all these goalies are good, and you got good shots got to go in. So. And
you know, just change subject some. The regular season's nice, but to me, and you see it in other sports, a lot of teams use the regular season to get ready for a postseason where it all counts. I mean, so you've got 3 more games where you can sort of tweak things and fine-tune some things to get your team ready for the postseason. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen in the postseason, especially when it's region play like that and we're all getting a chance to do it. That's like last year. We had a rain-shortened game that we lost by 3 when they blew us out before. So, I mean, it comes down to anybody's game at the playoffs, and, I mean, you see it everywhere. You see it in the pro level, college level. You see it everywhere. So
absolutely.
Hopefully we'll make it happen.
Well, good, great seeing you, and good luck tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Right. We'll see you again
Coach.
soon.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it. All right, Coach. Thanks a lot. All right, well, Jeff, it's always a pleasure to catch up with Chris Frazier. And he said he watched our broadcast twice, and he's still out here talking to us.
And I'm just impressed that he didn't fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep that remote handy. Well, what's your take? We saw JM last week. Culpepper matched up nicely against them. I don't see why the Eastern View wouldn't match up nicely and sort of perhaps get away with their second win this season.
Well, again, this is the second senior night we've seen in a row, and there's a different energy around both teams when you have a senior night. You want your team to go out. You want them to play hard. There's 11 seniors on this Eastern View squad. They want to go out on their home field with a win, Mark. And I know that Connor Weeks and Matt Greenfield are out there talking to their teammates. They're standing in line with their parents, and they're saying, we want to give these parents a win tonight. I expect to see that.
11 seniors is a lot on any team, particularly when you take a look at their roster. It's not exactly, there's not exactly 50 players on it. So 11 is a significant number, as you pointed out.
Well, I'm counting the bench, and I think I count 5 heads right now that are not seniors down there with their parents.
And that tells you everything.
So there's 5 guys that probably aren't going to see a lot of time tonight because they've got to get 11 seniors on the field to be able to recognize them.
Looking forward to calling the game with you tonight, Jeff. Here at Cyclone Stadium, it's the homestanding Cyclones against the visiting Yellow Jackets, JM, and we'll have all the exciting action coming up for you after the break. Stay tuned. You're watching Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpepper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
From Cyclone Stadium, welcome to tonight's broadcast of high school boys varsity lacrosse as the Cyclones play host to the Yellow Jackets of James Monroe. I'm Mark O'Connell alongside Jeff Say, and up top, the man behind the camera, Johnny Crawchuk. Well, Jeff, this is senior recognition night for the Cyclones, and a few moments ago they recognized all 11 seniors, and we mentioned in the pregame that's a substantial number.
Oh, yeah, sorry, there was a gentleman at the window.
Oh, yeah.
And so I apologize. The 11 seniors tonight. That's a lot of seniors for the Cyclones, and so excited for these seniors here tonight. You know, I really warmed my heart to hear Chris Frazier talk about this senior class. I mean, this was the class that he started with. Connor Weeks and Evan Edwards and Aiden Steins and Matt Greenfield, and so he really has an emotional attachment to this squad.
Yeah, well said. The emotional component, as you talked about. And right now, the two teams, starting lineups are out there getting the instructions for tonight's game, and of course, as always, we'll start it with a face-off. And Jeff, last week when we saw the Yellow Jackets play the Blue Devils, that was one thing where the Blue Devils really dominated, I thought, in the face-off position. They used several different players there, including their mainstay, Sebastian Gabarret. So we'll see if the Cyclones have similar success here tonight in the face-off to start each quarter and after each goal is scored, that sort of thing, and see if they can put their offense back in motion. And we talked about how Cyclones have 7 games under their belts. They've only won 1. That was against Culpepper, and they won that one over at Broman Field. Here's the first face-off for tonight's game, and we've got a whistle, and they're going to give possession over to James Monroe, it looks like. Nope, my mistake. Eastern View, rather. So we'll see them on offense, and Jeff, it's a beautiful night for lacrosse. We've got a lot of sunshine today and this evening, and very much unlike what it was like over the weekend. So these guys are playing in, I think, what would be considered ideal conditions.
Absolutely. There's no wind tonight. It's a little bit warm, but this is perfect lacrosse weather. And you mentioned that crazy rain we had this past weekend. Friday and Saturday was just miserable. And so the field's held up pretty well. It seems like it's drained well, and so the footing should be pretty solid for this Cyclones team.
Here's a quick shot, turn back, and looks like it's going to come back the other way perhaps. Nope, Cyclones come away with it. This is number 3, Connor Weeks. So already on this side of the field, the Cyclones on offense have a chance to, well, what did Rambo say? Draw first blood, Jeff.
And just as I mentioned how the footing might be solid, we see a JM defender fall, which we currently opened up this Cyclone play.
This is Connor Weeks going to work back there in that X area and reversing direction. Finds an open teammate. Here's a shot turned away. And that save by Perungsup, Trey Perungsup. We mentioned his name a lot last week. He played actually pretty well. He had a ton of shots fired his way by the Blue Devils.
Well, the one thing we noticed, if you went low on him, that he had trouble with the ball, but if you're chest high, he was pretty solid. Well, right there we see Austin Tingler try to go low right off the start, but Perungsup was able to adjust and make a good save.
Well, he probably got, he probably realized that was the area he needed to work on, and he's had really a week to hone that skill.
Mark, if we noticed it, then obviously his coaches had noticed it, and I'm sure that they've been working since that game at Culpepper to make some adjustments.
I was going to say, if I noticed it, it was probably blatantly obvious to the coaches. And on the run here and taking a shot real close in goal, and it's the Yellow Jackets that draw first blood, and that's Jake Wack of
Score,
James Monroe, 1-0. So the Yellow Jackets take an early lead with 9:57 to play here in this first quarter. And, of course, we mentioned that, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Fountain Sons, which is more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. That's Fountain Sons at 825-3530.
Well, Mark, I think you can say that was a whack goal.
Well, it was a whack goal. Here comes the Cyclones coming back and answering. And it looks like it's going to be Connor Weeks. Connor Weeks ties it up.
Cyclones, number 7.
Well, they're saying it was number 7.
Donovan Elliott.
Donovan Elliott.
Well, that was a quick goal. Not even 20 seconds had elapsed since the JM goal for Eastern View to come back and tie it up on that Donovan Elliott goal. And Elliott is doing a great job of getting down there and attacking Perungsup.
Back to the face-off, and for Eastern View, it's been Nolan Natale tonight, one of those 11 seniors. And the Cyclones will win this one, coming in for JM, number 17, who the coach said he didn't have a 17, but it looks like he does have a 17. Catch up with that player, name and number later on in the broadcast as Eastern View back to work here. Here's a shot taken, and Perungsup makes the save.
That was Nolan Natale with that tough angle, but really heads up because he saw that Evan Edwards was marked up there, and he was able to quickly retrieve it for the Cyclones. The Cyclones being aggressive here early on, Mark.
Natale to the sideline, and then in the lineup, Joshua Halt for the Cyclones as the Yellow Jackets come back the other way. JM's Evan Craig currently controlling, gets it over to his teammate, and JM substituting. Number 11 is Rylan White checking in. Number 2 is Luke DeMont. Back to Rylan White. All right, here's White on the move, launching a shot that Greenfield is able to deflect away from goal. 1 all our score, Jeff. About 8 minutes to play here in this first quarter.
And that's what I would call a matador save right there by Matt Greenfield, another senior here for the Cyclones, on kind of an Olay move to slide that ball away from harm's way.
This kind of a scoop shot that was wide of the mark as well, considered a shot, but no goal. JM back on offense here.
And the Cyclones in that zone defense, what we saw from Culpepper was that the Blue Devils were in the zone, but then they were able to go into more of a man-to-man and sometimes double team JM, and that caused JM some issues. The Yellow Jackets coughed the ball up a couple of times. Here, the Cyclones have played more in a traditional zone.
Yeah, Luke DeMont was trying to unleash a shot for the Yellow Jackets, but hit a defender well before it could get anywhere near Matt Greenfield. JM trying to set it up, coming across, taking a shot. Greenfield able to get his stick on it, keep it out of harm's way. JM inbounding, back on offense they go.
Greenfield being tested early, but he's showing why he's one of the best goalies in the district. be able to make some big saves here against JM early, Mark.
Here's a move. Nice move. Shot taken by number 7. Took it on the move, did Matthew Franklin. He weaved through traffic, centered up against Greenfield, took the shot, and found the corner to make it 2-1 in favor of JM. Well, you know, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community at 547-3673. Jeff, how did you see that one?
Well, that was a good defense there by Matt Greenfield early on, and then Matthew Franklin was just able to come through. We saw a lot of shots coming from JM there. I feel like Eastern View's defense is going to have to step up and put some pressure that whenever JM is able to make moves uncontested and be able to go into those passing lanes, it opens up some opportunities for the Yellow Jackets.
And they're trying to create one right here. In traffic, ball is loose, but JM keeps possession. Now winding up, cranking one from good distance there is number 2, Luke DeMont. And it's a 3-1 game in favor now of the Yellow Jackets. And Jeff, we're seeing a contrast in this game as opposed to the game against Culpepper, because JM is really the team that's taking the offensive initiative here.
Well, JM is coming out firing. They didn't have this many shots in the first half against the Blue Devils. So you see a different aggressive style to JM here tonight, trying to make something happen early. Eastern View here on senior night with 11 seniors being honored, going to have to get something going quickly to get the crowd back into it.
And this is Nolan Natale and Jack Clessy for James Monroe, battled in the face-off position. Cyclones come away with it. Donovan Elliott is jersey number 7. This is Elliott on the move. Elliott close, and he was thwarted when he got real close to goal, lost his footing. Cyclones keep it. Another shot, a save by Perungsup, and Perungsup's on his game so far tonight, Jeff.
Well, they've been trying that right side of the goal against Perungsup, and he seems strong there tonight. I would maybe go around and try to get in that X position to come on the left side against him.
This is Nolan Natale. And being checked there by number 14, McLean Maynor. Tally on the move. Here's a shot taken, and a nice save again by Perungsup of James Monroe. He's having a good game so far. I know it's early on, but he's had several shots fired his way, and he's answered against all of them except one.
Perungsup was strong against Culpepper. Just the multitude of shots he faced, it was just a war of attrition. Here tonight, he's turned away just about everything outside of that one goal by Donovan Elliott, but you've seen that he's been much stronger and be able to track the ball.
Well, how about this play? 2 passes. The second pass was from Rylan White, and I'm trying to see who got the goal. Was it
James Monroe, number 16.
Number 16, Jake Wack. That's his second goal tonight. But Jeff, that was a nicely executed offensive sequence for them. 2 passes to the player. Ultimately, the recipient was Jake Wack, who took the shot, but they executed that beautifully, and Wack got in front of Greenfield, and Greenfield had no chance.
Well, we've talked about that one-on-one. It's usually going to favor the shooter, and Wack, as you mentioned, that was perfect passing. I mean, this was precision that we didn't see from JM in the last game. So the Yellow Jackets obviously have been, watching some tape and trying to figure out how they can crack the Cyclones. And so far here early on, they have a 4-1 lead with about 5:03 remaining in the first quarter, Mark.
And an opportunity to tell you this broadcast is brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. And when we go live this year, our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they're able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. Well, so far this game is markedly different than on the last game we saw JM play, but we've also learned, Jeff, early on, we learned early in our broadcasting days that things change quickly and teams can score quickly and they can put together a bunch of goals in a short period of time. So it can be a game of ebb and flow.
Absolutely. We see JM on a 3-0 run right now. There's nothing to say that Easterview can't go on a 3-0 or a 4-0 run. They just have to be able to get some momentum. And in lacrosse, that momentum is so perilous, Mark. You know, it does go back and forth so quickly.
And I'm not going to jinx it by saying we haven't had any penalties yet either. So hopefully, you know, it's been a clean game. No one's been in the penalty box. Both teams have been at full strength. JM has mixed it up pretty nicely. They've executed well on offense, and as we've pointed out, they have taken the initiative for the most part in the offensive scheme of things. And of course, Eastern View always capable of coming back. Joshua Halt checks back in. Cyclone there on the move and taking a shot. This one does get past Perungsip, and it was, we'll pick up his number here in just a second. That is Connor Weeks, isn't it?
That was Connor Weeks with that goal, and Weeks made that one pretty much happen on his own. Now the Cyclones won the face-off. That was Nolan Natale winning the face-off. He had a little trouble with the ball, got it over to Weeks, and then Weeks just held on to it and used his fancy footwork to create some space and was able to fire off that sidearm shot to beat Perunsup.
And following the goal, we go back to another face-off. Nolan Natale for Eastern View and Jack Clessy for James Monroe. Running into some resistance down there for the Cyclone players as Perungsip scoops it up. Go downfield with his outlet pass a little high. Two teams will scramble for it. And we'll see who'll come away with it. There's a nice check right there. Good clean check. No penalty, no call. There's another check. This one goes out of bounds. Just a couple of really good checks.
Hard checks, though.
Legal.
They were, absolutely legal, but they definitely depleted the Eastern View players there. That was Aiden Steins we saw turn it over right there. But, you know, I'm going to call him brave because he saw that hit coming and he just took it.
Well, you know, it's the thing is that if the ball is in your possession, there's a good chance you're going to have contact, right?
There's a target on you when you have that ball.
Well said. With JM back on offense here, both teams remain at full strength. Clean game so far. JM right now, 4-2 lead.
With about 3.5 to play here on the clock in the first quarter mark.
Yes, and I appreciate your assistance with that because I'm at a place and the clock is in a place and the sun is in a place where, quite frankly, I just can't see it at this juncture. So if you'll keep us informed on the clock, we'll keep the viewing audience aware just where we are within this game. Late first quarter action. Turnover to Eastern View.
And Aiden Steins, it looks like Evan Edwards is going to bring that in for the Cyclones. We mentioned Steins, Edwards, Week, Davion Wilkerson, also Gavin Utley.
Who's not playing tonight.
Who is out tonight.
Watch this one.
But all those
Weeks penetrated deeply and unleashed a shot, but Perungsip was there and he had a couple defenders in front of him as well.
We mentioned all those players, Matt Greenfield as well, also a senior. Laundry list of seniors here tonight for the Cyclones, 11 of them, Mark.
Yeah, and then how many people on the sideline? Is it 5? So it's a short roster. And here's another nice save by Perungsip. Well, I think he's done his homework in this past week.
Absolutely. I think he's certainly, and they've changed the angle. And, you know, Chris Frazier mentioned that they happened to watch our broadcast. We're very humbled by that. And they have noticed that you can change the angles and be able to solve Perunsup, but he's been very strong here tonight.
Well, you know, Chris Frazier did say, now here is a winding up and taking a shot is Luke DeMont. And DeMont cranks this one into the net past Matt Greenfield. Our score 5-2, Jeff.
5-2, that was DeMont's second goal, 2:01 remaining here in the first period. Jack Wack has 2 goals for the Yellow Jackets. Matthew Franklin with a goal. And then for the Cyclones, Donovan Elliott and Connor Weeks with goals.
Back to the face-off, Jack Clessy, James Monroe. Nolan Natale, Eastern View. Ball remains a 50-50 until Eastern View looked to have picked it up, lost it. They're in traffic. They'll fight for possession. We'll see who comes away with it. Right now it's JM and number 8, Avery Forsman, to his goalie. Nice outlet by Perungza. He's got Luke DeMont in stride. Here is DeMont back on the attack. Goes left-handed, takes the shot. This time Greenfield is able to save this one for the Cyclones.
That was a big save for Greenfield. That was a hard shot coming in from JM.
Well, you hear a theme here early on, Jeff, is that when it's JM, it looks like Luke DeMont is going to be in the center of that offensive push.
DeMont and Wack have been the offensive gurus here for this evening for JM, but I was going to point out that Eastern View has been doing a better job in terms of moving the ball downfield, but they've just got to be able to win the ground balls.
JM back on the attack. Watch out. Turned back by Greenfield. Twice Greenfield makes the save. Here's his outlet pass up to Nolan Natale, who lost it. JM comes back with it. Let's check the clock again, Jeff. What do we have up there?
About 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
Okay, Emmanuel Butler, JM, comes to the sidelines. Substitution for JM. Final 35 seconds here in the first quarter. JM looks to, take its time and maybe work a last-second shot before this first quarter expires.
I was going to say, Mark, that looks exactly what JM is going to do. They're going to slow it down. They're going to set up their offense. About 15 seconds remaining. They're going to wait for that last shot.
And Luke DeMont's going to have something to say about it. Here's his shot. This one is deflected away from goal. But no surprise that they asked Luke DeMont to take the honor and unleash one. Here comes Eastern View back. Perungza corrals it as the siren blows to signal the end of, or the siren sounds to signal the end of the first quarter with our score JM 5, Eastern View 2. We'll take a break and come back for the second quarter right after this.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
Welcome back to our broadcast at Cyclone Stadium. We're set to start the second quarter of action here. Varsity lacrosse action tonight coming your way from the Culpepper Media Network as we start the second quarter. Cyclones trail 5-2. And we'll start, of course, the quarter with a face-off. For Eastern View, that's meant Nolan Natale. And for JM, that's meant Jack Klesse. Well, Mark O'Connell alongside Jeff Say and Johnny Krawchuk tonight. Jeff, your take on that first quarter?
I was impressed with JM and how they played to start the first quarter. Really offensively, they came out firing. I mean, they've just been peppering Matt Greenfield with balls, but I was really impressed with how that they've responded because they did not play this cohesive against Culpepper. We've seen some crisp passing. So for Eastern View to get back in this one, Mark, they're going to have to step it up on defense a little bit and try to win those ground balls. Up until there, the Cyclones had done a really good job of winning the face-off. So they've got to be able to win those face-offs, win the ground balls, and then get their offense started in transition.
Well, let me ask you this. It seems like we're seeing a different JM team tonight, but the reason is they're playing a different team. Are they looking at a different defensive style that you think they've had more success with than perhaps they had last week against Culpepper?
Well, there was a lot of forechecking last week by the Blue Devils, and we haven't seen that here tonight by Eastern View. We've seen Eastern View in more of a traditional zone defense. offense. And that's opened up some more lanes for JM, and they seem much more comfortable. They were harried the entire game against the Blue Devils.
Well said, Jeff. Well, Luke DeMont tried to pick up where he left off in that last quarter, taking that shot on goal that was wide. And now Eastonview comes back with it. Connor Weeks currently has possession as they slow it down and wait for the offense to settle here. Opening minute of the second quarter. If you're just tuning in, it's 5-2 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. Here is Connor Weeks taking a shot, and Perunza, another save, Jeff. They're testing him, and he's answering the call so far.
And Perunza going low. That was something we had identified against the Blue Devils, that he had trouble going low. He was fine from chest up, but if you were able to change your angle, you had a goal. Here tonight, he has adjusted, and he has taken away that low goal.
So far, and it makes you wonder if Chris Frazier may say, all right, let's change up some of this shot selection. Let's go high.
Well, that was something that Coach Chris Frazier talked about, was changing that shot selection, going left, going right, going high, going low. So, certainly they've been keying on low because they saw the tape, but they're going to have to change up their shot selection here the rest of the game. Here's our first penalty.
Yeah, Weeks ran into traffic and took a hit. Then we had our first penalty flag hit the turf here tonight. It had been a clean game. No flags in that first quarter, Jeff.
And I think there was two, because the ref on the far side had thrown a flag as well, and there's still some dirty laundry down here, not about 15 yards away from the...
No, I was going to say if my... Oh, okay. It's going to be against number 20, Jeff, Julius Davis. I thought they had singled out number 17, the name and number we don't have. And I was thinking if my football broadcasting partner, Steve, was here, he might say that's their phantom player.
I was about to say earlier, I was going to mention, is that the phantom player in honor of Steve Peacock?
Well, and actually, let's take a look here. You said there were two penalty flags. They have one player in the penalty box, and that's Julius Davis. He's the first entry there tonight. And here is a goal scored by Eastonview's number 7. That's Donovan Elliott. And so the Cyclones do take advantage of that man-up situation. Cut into that JM lead. It's now 5-3.
Well, you hear the public address announcer here saying it's time to feel the wind, and you could feel the wind on that shot by Donovan Elliott because he really wound up on that one. And the Cyclones taking advantage of that power play opportunity to cut it to 5-3 with 9:54 remaining in the first half.
And Jeff, it obviously was not a non-releasable penalty because after that goal, JM went back to full strength. So they'll try to answer here with one of their own. You got to figure that somewhere in that mix is going to factor prominently Luke Dumont. He wears jersey number 2.
Or Jake Wack. Those are the two that we've seen have 2 goals here tonight already.
Then we've got that one phantom player out there whose name and number we will secure at the intermission. Number 11 in control is Rylan White. Trying to get it down low to Evan Craig. Ball got away from him, and now they'll fight for it. Coming away with it, taking a shot, was Luke DeMont. And Greenfield with the save there.
Big save by Greenfield. He was able to get a leg out and kick it away, but a nice shot by DeMont. And here we've seen JM again winning those ground balls, and that has led to a couple of shot opportunities and a couple of goals.
Here's Luke DeMont making a move. DeMont winding up left-handed. Greenfield to save once more. Ball loose. Cyclones get it. They heave it downfield, hoping for a good connection. Instead, James Monroe, number 11, Rylan White, comes away with it. There's White, and they slow it down.
That's one thing the JM has done a little bit better here tonight, and that's clear the ball. Eastonview unable to get the ball cleared away safely there.
Look at this, weaving through traffic. I thought that Matthew Franklin may have a shot, but he lost it, and Eastonview comes back the other way. There's Connor Weeks winding up. This one wide. Well, we're in the second quarter, and this broadcast is brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. Imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473, and that's shirts to banners and everything in between. Coming back this way are the Yellow Jackets, up 5-3 here in the second quarter. And we mentioned that the Cyclones are 1-6. They've played 7 games, and counting tonight, they have 3 games remaining. So after tonight, Jeff, they will play, I think, Meridian on Thursday, and then next Monday they play at Liberty of Bealton. And then that will conclude the regular season. Here's a nice move by JM's number 16. That's Jake Wack. He went left-handed and found the corner of the goal past Matthew Greenfield to make it a 6-3 game. We mentioned Dumont, and you also said the other guy you got to factor in is Jake Wack. I think that's his second goal night.
That is a hat trick.
Well, a hat trick.
That's a hat trick for Wack, Mark. And again, making that play happen, being gritty down in the middle, and Wack. And that's the one thing we've seen JM and Wack do, is that they go in deep against Matt Greenfield and are able to get a shot past him. And Wack really doing a nice job here offensively against the Cyclones.
Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Fountain & Sons, more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Fountain & Sons at 825-3530.
Nice job right there by Nolan Talley off the face-off to pester the Yellow Jackets and get the ball back and force a turnover.
On the whistle, Connor Weeks gets things rolling for the Cyclones. Cyclones down 5-3 here at Cyclone Stadium. Tonight, senior recognition night, and those 11 seniors recognized before the start of tonight's game. And as we said, a significant number. And as you pointed out, the emotional factor, Jeff, with these guys really representing a sort of a start and finish in their career with head coach Chris Frazier.
I asked Chris Frazier if there was going to be some tears, and he kind of politely said no. It's just going to be a moment that's going to be bittersweet, because this has been a team that's grown up with him. This was the team that came in with him when he started coaching, and obviously he's been a long-time Blue Devil player. He recognizes that impact that he can have with a coach and that emotional bond.
Yeah, and really to see things from start to finish, to have that sort of conclusion, don't you think?
Absolutely, and and we've seen this Eastern View team grow. They got their first win against the Blue Devils it was their first lacrosse win in 2 years, and so that was huge for Eastern View and a huge boost for the Cyclones' confidence. And then you've got to imagine that these seniors, that's something that they're always going to remember, is that win against the Blue Devils.
Well, you got it. Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive. And we'll get to that in just a second, but not before JM strikes for another goal, and it's by that phantom player, number 17, and this one just whizzed past Greenfield. You couldn't catch up with that one, Jeff. This one had some velocity on it as we are past the midway mark in this second quarter.
Well, the one thing that we've noticed is if you can get the Yellow Jackets clear of any defensive players and just let them take a shot, they have some really good shots. They have a lot of velocity. And so I think for Eastern View, they're going to have to step up the physicality a little bit. That's something we noticed that Culpepper did. So maybe it's changing the defensive strategy here in the second half.
Back to the face-off. JM wins this one. Jep Bro comes away with it. And now Luke Dumont, number 2. Giving chase and marking up against him is Jalen Tanner. McLean Maynard in possession on the wing here, number 11, Rylan White. JM now has settled down some, Jeff. They've slowed it down, and I think if you're the Yellow Jackets, you like where you are at this juncture.
And for your Yellow Jackets right now, you're looking for somebody to cut towards the goal to be able to make some passes and keep the pressure on the Cyclones. And we see a turnover right there, as that's one thing that JM had done up until this point better than they had the last game we saw them mark, and that was possess the ball.
Yeah, to avoid those turnovers, you're exactly right. Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. 547-3673. Cyclones coming back. getting close, coming around that goal, taking a shot, taking a hit, ball loose. That net protected for the moment for JM.
That was Donovan Elliott with that wraparound shot. I think there might have been an injured Yellow Jacket on the play, but he's up and moving. That was number 11, Ryland White, was down there for a moment, but looks like possession is going to go back to the Yellow Jackets, Mark. About 4:30 remaining here in the second quarter.
What do you think about the passage of time tonight? Has it gone pretty quickly, or we've only had one player in the penalty box, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty seamless. There's been 9 goals, 10 goals scored, so there's been quite a few face-offs. But it seems like the tempo and the momentum has been in favor of JM.
That turnaround shot was taken by number 16, Jake Wack. They didn't score, but they do keep possession. Here's another JM player on the move. Here's a spin move. He's in a little bit of traffic. He lost it. That was Ryland White. Cyclones, nice pass. This is number 10, Austin Tingler.
Davion Wilkerson, number 4 for the Cyclones, another senior out there trying to crowd. He's going to school for graphic design.
And we've got possession awarded to Eastern View here. With what, 3:25 to play in this second quarter?
That is correct.
Connor Weeks on the move. Got a teammate, got a shot taken. I believe that was Joshua Haught?
That was Joshua Haught with a tough angle right there. I thought he was going to have a goal, but it just went off the side of the net.
Sure did. They got him down low. He thought he might have a good look, but did hit the side of the net, as you pointed out. Looks like we're going to have a whistle. And it looks like we're going to have a timeout taken by JM. Well, when we're live this year, Jeff, our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air. Answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they're able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. Well, Jeff, what's going on? Current events in the Culpepper County, Culpepper community.
Well, we have Culpepper Fest coming up June 10th. That's the Chamber's big event. It's going to be out here at Cyclone Stadium, and we've had a lot going on in the community. There's a youth rugby tournament that's going to be coming to the sports complex this next weekend, and then the weekend after that is the Culpepper Soccer Association. They're going to be having their Culpepper tournament. There's all the rec teams that are playing together, and then we're getting close to the Piedmont Area Soapbox Derby. That's next month. That's on Father's Day weekend. That's coming up soon. So, and the Downtown Farmers Market just had its opening this past weekend. I heard it was the best opening they've ever had. Despite the dreary weather on Saturday, they had a really good turnout, and then a lot of those folks went downtown to Bailey's Cookie Bar. We just had a ribbon cutting for them today, but Saturday they sold out of cookies, Mark.
Well, and do you like cookies?
I love cookies. I love sweets, and you can tell by looking at my physique. I noticed myself when we were doing the pregame. I could see myself in your shades, and so I kept sucking my gut in because I didn't look as svelte as you and Chris Frazier.
Well, you know what? I think we all like cookies, don't we?
I don't know how you can not like cookies.
Well, especially like chocolate chip.
Oh, and these chocolate chip cookies are to die for. Delicious. So another great attribute for downtown Culpepper, and there's so much going on. Downtown Culpepper, new businesses, those new lights, Culpepper Renaissance Inc. putting up some new lights with the Power and Light Company downtown, hanging some beautiful lights this past weekend, so that looks really nice. It's just a beautiful town and a beautiful season.
I wanted to just say, that you have a really good handle on the upcoming events, and it sounds like just a lot of good goings on in the Culpepper community, and you're right in the thick of those things, Jeff.
Well, I try to be, and I know that Eastern View and Culpepper had their proms back-to-back. 2 weeks ago was Eastern View's prom. This past weekend was Culpepper's prom out at Germanna Community College. Nice setup out there done by our good friend Ian Sheeney and his crew.
Well, you know, winding up and taking that shot was Davion Wilkerson. A rare shot on goal for him. And Trey Perungsup, the JM goalie, stayed right with it and made a nice save. As JM comes back this way, and it's Luke DeMont, number 2.
JM bringing the thunder here tonight. I mean, they've been much more physical this game than they were the last time we saw them, and I think that's been a big difference, as they've taken the ball away from the Cyclones a couple of times with some physical play, a couple big checks, and that's led to some Yellow Jacket goals.
Here's a shot taken, sidearm, and it looks like it did find the goal. That was number 16, Jake Wack. He already had the hat trick, didn't he?
He did, so this is now his 4th goal of the evening, and things are getting whack out there, Mark.
Getting a little wacky, huh? 8-3 in favor of JM. Looks like, what, minute 44 to play here in the second quarter?
About a minute 44 to play, and if I was still in the newspaper industry, I think my lead would be Easterview could not withstand the whack attack.
That would be a good one. That's if you were writing the story now. But so much can change. You know, they're talking about a tale of two halves, right? Who knows what the second half's going to look like when these two teams go at it. After the halftime adjustments and all that stuff, regrouping, you never know. But I tell you what, I'm certainly more impressed with JM's offensive attack tonight than I was last week against Culpepper.
Absolutely. Man, what a collision we just had right there between Connor Weeks and Jake Klesse for JM. I mean, just absolutely airborne when Connor Weeks, he was decleated, and Klesse has come to the sidelines. He looks maybe a little worse for the wear. Weeks is just recovering down there. He looks like he's going to be okay, but man, that was a train wreck of a collision right there.
Well, Klesse is number 9. Did you see him come to the sidelines?
Yeah, Klesse's being looked at by the trainer right now.
Oh, okay,
getting
yeah,
checked
you're right.
out.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed maybe a little wobbly coming off. I don't know if they might have bunked beans, as my 4-year-old would say, but it looks like Connor Weeks is just recovering there on the sidelines. He's getting ready to come back in, but Klesse is talking to the trainer. Hopefully he's okay.
Final minute 25, ticking away here at Cyclone Stadium. Our score, Yellow Jackets 8, Cyclones 3. JM clearly in control at this point. Of course, we've mentioned many times things can change quickly. Here's JM setting up. This one stopped by the defenders before it can get anywhere near Matt Greenfield. But James Monroe keeps it. Now Jake Wack has it, finds his teammate, and Greenfield looks like he makes the save there.
He did, and what I liked is that Greenfield made the save, and then he was going to go chase it down, but he thought better of it, and the ball trickled out of bounds. But I love that aggressiveness by Matt Greenfield.
Well, he certainly had some shots fired his way. Done a good job, but JM has found the net a few times as well. This one gets loose. Greenfield takes possession. Short outlet pass. Now they heave it downfield in the direction, or vicinity rather, of Joshua Halt. And Cyclones lose it. James Monroe comes back with it. Looks like we've got 10 seconds remaining, Jeff. Clock ticking. Let's see if JM has time to uncork one here before that siren. This is Dumont. They won't get a shot off as that siren sounds to signal the end of the second quarter and first half. With our score at Cyclone Stadium, it is Yellow Jackets 8, Cyclones 3. We'll take a break for the intermission and halftime. We'll come back for the start of the third quarter after these messages. Stay tuned. You're watching Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpepper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
Welcome back to our broadcast and to the start of the third quarter here at Cyclone Stadium. And as we start this third quarter, Jeff says Cyclones down 8-3. I guess it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they do differently here in the second half.
Defensively, I don't feel like the Cyclones were as physical as we saw the Blue Devils be against JM. And you know, we were talking, and this looks like a totally different JM team from what we saw a week ago. So if I'm Chris Frazier, I'm going to have my defense step up a little bit, double team, be a little more physical, on the physical on the cross check, because that's what we saw work well on tape. Obviously we saw live, but that's something that I feel like the Yellow Jackets had trouble with. Offensively for the Cyclones, you just got to be able to possess the ball and get your offense working a little bit, move the ball through Evan Edwards and Connor Weeks, and good things will happen.
Well, you know what I forgot to do is to find out who the Phantom player is. Number 17.
You were too busy enjoying that cookie up by you.
Yeah. Should we talk about those cookies?
Weren't they delicious?
Yeah. If you like chocolate chip and you like them chocolatey, I highly recommend it. As JM's Matthew Franklin was pressuring the goal and lost it. Now the Cyclones' Nolan Natali comes back the other way, gets into a double team, takes a hit. Ball loose. You know, Jeff, we were talking about that first half, and we only had, one penalty?
Had one penalty. Actually, I think there was two. There was, I think there was one on. No, you're right. It was just the one on JM, and that led to a power play opportunity and a goal for the Cyclones. And as we just saw there, the Cyclones, Nolan Natali, they had a timeout called as he was being harassed there on the play. So now it's a timeout called for the Cyclones as they look to possess the ball.
And we'll say that this broadcast is brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473.
We'll run down the scoring really quick here that happened in the first half. Jake Wack has 4 goals for JM. Then we see Matthew Franklin, he had a goal. Luke DeMonto had 2 goals for the Yellow Jackets, and for the Cyclones, we saw Donovan Elliott have a goal, Connor Weeks have a goal, and Donovan Elliott added another goal in the second quarter. It's 8-3 here as we start.
I'm missing one, Jeff, so 4 for Wack.
Yep.
1 for Franklin.
And 1 by the Phantom player, that's why I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, I got you. And then 2 by Luke DeMont. In Eastern Views, Donovan Elliott swings it out there to Connor Weeks. Here comes Weeks on the move. Going to reverse his direction, stutter step, and dish it off to his teammate on the perimeter here. Number 15 we mentioned is Joshua Halt.
And Connor Weeks with the ball. We saw Connor score for the Cyclones, and really the offense is coming through him and Evan Elliott. If that's something the Cyclones can get going here tonight, then you know that's going to be advantageous for Eastern View to get back into this game.
Well, Connor Weeks tried both sides of that net, looking for a little bit of an opening or crack. I thought JM did a good job of stringing that out, putting pressure on him on both sides of that goal to keep Eastern View at bay.
Yeah, JM's playing really strong two-way lacrosse right now. You know, they're cross-checking, they're playing physical, they're taking the Cyclones off the ball. Meanwhile, the Cyclones are, you know, kind of in this zone defense, so they're giving some open lanes and some open shots to JM, and the Yellow Jackets are taking them all day long.
whistle stoppage, reset it. On the whistle, it'll go again, and it's James Monroe. All right, Eastern View possession. We know this broadcast brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. 547-3673. Number 2, Evan Edwards for Eastern View. Slows it down, passes to his teammate Connor Weeks. Over to Donovan Elliott now, number 7. Elliott is another guy who can score. Davian Wilkerson is in there. And this one, Elliott, looked like he was on the move and wanted to unleash one. He lost it. JM comes back with it, coming back the other way.
And that's Ryland White. Again, defensively, they're just doing a really good job of clogging up the lanes and taking away any opportunity for the Cyclones to make something happen with their feet.
And this is Connor Weeks. Weeks penetrates, tried to scoop it in there, turned back by Perungzip, ball loose still. Now Perungzip gathers it. His pass is a little over the out of the reach of the intended receiver, but coming away with it is Luke DeMont.
And Perunzip is just playing out of his mind here tonight. He's really stood on his head. We mentioned he played well against Culpepper last week, but we noticed at that time that they could go low and he would give up some goals. Here tonight, that has not happened. He has really adjusted and has been able to track those low balls coming in as well.
Okay, on the whistle, JM back on offense. Luke DeMont is number 2.
And Mark, I really feel like JM has controlled the tempo of this game. When they've had it in the offensive zone, they've been making things happen.
Yeah, I believe you're right. This is a different looking team than we saw last week. But again, playing a different defense tonight too. And what about the play of Perungzip in goal?
He's been outstanding.
Winding up, taking a shot was DeMont. This was wide of the mark, but JM will run it down and bring it back into play. JM had a shot close and they score. It was number 7 to number 16. That would be Matthew Franklin to Jake Wack.
Goal, James Monroe.
So what is that, 5 for Wack now?
That's 5 for Wack. It's wiggity wiggity whack. I'm gonna run out of whack jokes at some point. Just bear with me here.
It's all just a little wackadoodle, isn't it?
That's one I was gonna say for later. that was for goal number 6.
Okay. When it would have been the hat trick times 2, right?
It would have been.
So 9-3 our score.
9-3. We've got 7:15 remaining here in the third quarter.
Back to another face-off. Nolan Natali, Jack Klesse, JM winning this one, coming away with it.
JM is on a 4-0 run. They have not given up a goal since Donovan Elliott scored for the Cyclones to make it 5-3 with 9:54 remaining in the second quarter. So it has been almost a full quarter since JM has given up a goal.
And do you see them playing more aggressively defensively tonight, or do you see more of a just the offense seems to be better tuned, or both?
It's a little bit of both. The physicality on defense is something that stood out. We've talked about a couple big hits that they've had, and maybe that's made the Cyclones a little more wary when they've come in close.
Well, and Perungzip there, they went low against him, and he was able to deflect the shot. Connor Weeks looks like he's going to wind up instead. Passes it over to Evan Edwards. This ball's going to go. Looks like it's going to stay in bounds. It was an inch or two away from going out of bounds and forcing a turnover to JM, but instead they come away with it, at least for the moment. This one seems to be hard to handle. Getting a hit as he goes out of bounds was Avery Forsman of JM. Possession awarded to Eastern View, and Donovan Elliott starts the attack here.
Well, that was good physicality right there by the Cyclones, riding the JM defender, number 8, Avery Forsman, out of bounds and be able to get possession back. That's something the Cyclones need to do more of. They need to make those hits. We've seen that, maybe JM shies away from that a little bit. At least that's what we noticed from the last game we saw.
Donovan Elliott had it and lost it. He lost his cross too and regained possession of his cross, but not the ball as JM comes away with it. And they look for Luke DeMont and they find him. Here's DeMont across that midfield stripe. Under 6 minutes to play here in this third quarter. 8-3 our score. Well, you have 9-3, isn't it?
9-3.
9-3.
9-3.
And now JM, 6-goal lead. Do you figure they're going to try to work that clock as well?
If I'm JM, I'm just going to keep doing what was working. That's being aggressive, being able to spread the ball around, possess it, and just create with your offense, because that is something that we've seen them, if they're able to get inside that zone and get down one-on-one against Matt Greenfield, that they've had some success.
All right, now they spread it out. They look for a player in front of goal, and they find him, and it's number 4, Evan Craig, who gets the goal for James Monroe.
And we talked about it. They're able to get one-on-one against Greenfield, get in behind the defenders for the Cyclones. Good things have happened for the Yellow Jackets tonight. And again, that's just nice, crisp passing, moving the ball around, and working your offense.
Jeff, I'll say this. If they weren't wearing the same uniforms as last week, I wouldn't think it was the same team.
No, I mean, this is a completely different JM team. And JM's, fairly new program. And so that's some maturity level right there for me, Mark, to see how you respond after a tough loss like they had against Culpepper, and then to come out here and look like a totally different team against the Cyclones.
Exactly. So you've got 10-3, 4:10, clock moving. Third quarter, Connor Weeks on the move, reversing direction, playing pretty good defense against him here.
And Weeks is quick. I mean, he's really making some moves out there, but he's just not been able to pull away those defenders. They're staying at home.
Here's a shot, but this one was knocked down by a defender before Perungzip was asked to make another save. But again, Perungzip's played well in goal tonight for the Yellow Jackets, and we've said it a few times. The Yellow Jackets have been aggressive tonight. I like the way they've executed their offense, and they've played stingy on defense so far.
And the Yellow Jackets are stinging, I think, is one way to put it.
A stinging defense. But a lot of lacrosse still to play. 3:20, third quarter clock is moving, as is Connor Weeks. Looks like he's going to back pedal out and then reset here as he finds Joshua Haught. And they continue to spread it out as Davion Wilkerson was involved. And now Elliott on the move. Body save there as Perungzip watches the ball goes near the sideline. And the two players will battle for it. We'll see who comes away with it. It's going to be Eastern View. And it's Donovan Elliott back up top, winding up, taking a shot. And again, they went low, and Perungzip had a nice stretch there, Jeff, and maybe using his leg to deflect it away from goal.
A kick save and a beaut.
Kick save, exactly. There's another shot. This one taken by Donovan Elliott. They kept it on the ground. They bounced it, and then Perungzip didn't necessarily make a clean play on it, but he stopped it and was able to corral it, take possession, and get the ball back down the field. And again, I just can't emphasize how well Perungzip's playing. And again, they have tried to exploit what we thought might be a vulnerability if they go to, their shots on the ground. But he's answered the call so far here tonight.
Yeah, Perungzip has just stood on his head. He's done an amazing job. Another goal right there.
And that one was by number 7, Matthew Franklin. They had a little flurry there around that goal of action, and as Greenfield looked back to find the ball, they were able to get it out in front to Evan Craig, and then Craig, how many times we've said it, Jeff, you get one-on-one like that, it's just the odds always favor that shooter.
A 6-0 run here for JM since the last time the Cyclones scored at the 9:54 mark, and the Yellow Jackets offensively are just being aggressive. We talked about it. You know, they're putting somebody down in front of goal. They're able to get rebounds. They're able to harass Matt Greenfield, and Greenfield's defense, they're in that zone, and they've just been giving up the perimeter to the Yellow Jackets, and JM has taken advantage of it.
Yep, and this broadcast is brought to you in part by Fountain Sons, which is more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Fountain Sons, 825-3530.
And I mentioned it earlier, JM has been winning those ground balls, so that's been a big difference. That ground ball percentage, you get dirty in there and you win those ground balls, and then you turn around and you start going on the fast break, and you really get the confidence building with your offense.
Action here late in the third quarter. We're down to 1:05 to play. Here's a shot taken. Donovan Elliott, and another kick save made by Trey Perungsup. Under a minute to play as JM comes back. Matthew Greenfield.
Huge
the ball
save.
Got loose. Yeah, he made the save, and now he's going to look for some help.
Huge save by Greenfield. That was Whack one-on-one. Whack, running on a fast break there on that outlet, I suppose. I think that might have been a rebound off of Perungsup, and Greenfield able to make a big stop.
Well, here's a play on words I don't think you've used so far, Jeff. Whack attack.
I think that was going to be my lead of the story. They couldn't survive the whack attack.
Couldn't survive the whack attack, right.
If I was writing a story.
Yeah, right, if you were. Well, you'd know what your storyline would be. That was always a good thing to know before a game was over, wasn't it? You knew what your storyline was going to be.
Usually, and I always like to have it written in the first half, because then I could continue to finesse it throughout the second half.
Mm-hmm. Here's Eastern View. Final seconds. They got a shot off, but Perungsup had the save. He heaved it downfield as the third quarter ended. Well, we've played 3 here at Cyclone Stadium, Jeff, with our score, Yellow Jackets 11, Cyclones 3. We'll come back for the fourth and final quarter right after this. Stay tuned.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
All right, welcome back to the start of the fourth quarter at Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View High School. That's the good news. We got a lacrosse game. We're at home. We're watching the Cyclones. Bad news is we start the fourth quarter, and for the home team, they are down by 8 goals, 11-3. Well, Jeff, I know I mentioned it earlier, but it seems to me it bears worth repeating that if JM were if they weren't wearing the same uniforms tonight, I'd swear that was a different team here.
Oh, they are just absolutely dominating out here tonight. Offensively, I think they're doing a really great job being aggressive. Defensively, they've been physical, and we have seen, as you mentioned, a completely different JM team than what we witnessed a week ago against Culpepper.
And then, of course, one of the factors, and it's an intangible, if you will, is that they talk about styles and matchups when teams play. When it's individuals playing, whether it's boxing or wrestling or teams, styles, matchups, that sort of thing. So I think JM certainly takes on a different team with a different style. And Eastern View, But still, you can't take away anything from JM in the sense that they've just played a different game here tonight, and they've been the aggressor. Except now in the fourth quarter, Eastern View gets a goal, and I know that Donovan Elliott scoring here to give Eastern View his fourth goal tonight. That's good stuff, but I'm going to look at your records and say, when was the last time the Cyclones scored before that?
Well, that was Donovan Elliott had scored to start the second quarter at 9:54, and since then it has been a 6-0 run up until this goal by JM. So, again, I'm a big noticer of trends and coincidences, and so Donovan Elliott to start the second quarter scores. They made it 5-3, and now Donovan Elliott to start the fourth quarter scores, but this time it's 11-4 in favor of JM. So JM scoring 6 goals until Eastern View was able to score their first.
Here's Connor Weeks taking a shot. This was high, and Perungsit with the save. And I was going to say the other bit of good news for Eastern View following that goal was winning the all-important face-off.
Absolutely, and we talked about JM being physical. They've won the ground balls. They've won a good bit of the face-offs. I've been really impressed with Nolan Talley here on senior night for Eastern View. He's really been doing a nice job winning those face-offs, and we have a penalty mark on that play.
Well, we've got a player from JM in the penalty box, a fellow by the name of Jack Klesse, number 9.
And we've seen Klesse be physical and aggressive, and he'd taken a big hit from Connor Weeks, or he put a big hit on Connor Weeks earlier on, and Klesse was out, getting checked out there for a little bit. Now he's back, but now he's in the sin bin.
Well, Klesse has been handling that face-off duty for the Yellow Jackets here tonight. Donovan Elliott, as you pointed out, scored to start the second quarter. He scores to start the fourth, and now they're in a man-up situation, or the Cyclones, and so an opportunity here for them to cut into that lead. 11-4 our score. A minute and a half into this fourth quarter. Connor Weeks coming around, and this one is a goal. It looked like Perungsit may have had to save. He thought he had it, but he didn't realize it gotten past him. So now, back-to-back goals by the Cyclones makes it 11-5. They've got some life, Jeff. There's still plenty of time if they can keep it going.
And 6 goals is not hard to make up in lacrosse. So that was a huge goal by Connor Weeks. He's been working, for the past 2 quarters, trying to get the defense to bite. And this time he was able to get around, coming around behind the cage, and on the right-hand side, be able to beat Perungsit. And you mentioned Perungsit thought he had that one, and that bounce came off of Perunzit's stick and into the goal.
Yeah, it looks like he had it, and he looked like he thought he had it, but got past him, and JM wins this face-off. We'll go back on offense. And right now, here in this fourth quarter, Eastern View showing some signs of life.
Mark, you have to wonder if the shade is going to start make a little bit of a difference. It reminds me of Wrigley Field in the late day whenever you get the shadows coming in. And is that going to impact Matthew Greenfield as he's down in goal here for the Cyclones, watching different shots come in? And is the sun going to impact Perungsit, that he's going to, if he's looking towards that left side, man, it is really bright down there.
Right, and you're looking at Greenfield and that the defenders in that shade. Will that be advantageous for them? Is that what you were talking about?
I was thinking, it could be advantageous for them if shots are within the shade, but then
right.
If you're JM and you're trying to take a shot from in the sun.
Well, how about this play? This was the pass from Luke DeMont to Jake Wack, and they score against Matthew Greenfield. So there's a Yellow Jacket answer to one of those Eastern View goals here in this fourth quarter.
Do you know what my favorite arcade game was growing up?
Arcade. No.
Whack-a-mole.
I don't know. I never really got into it.
You've never played Whack-a-mole?
I don't think so.
Oh, Whack-a-mole's a great game. And I just...
I was always too serious to play games.
You're never too young at heart to play games, Mark. You see you're serious.
Well, no, I mean, they're just...
Do we need to extol the virtues of Looney Tunes again?
Yeah, exactly. Now you're talking my language with Looney Tunes. JM substituting on the fly. Here's DeMont winding up, but he ran into a defender who jarred it loose before he could challenge Matt Greenfield. 9:02. I don't know, Jeff. Is it my imagination or what? But this game has gone rather quickly.
It has. I mean, and we still have quite a bit of sun in the sky, and so I keep looking and thinking, wow, this got to be getting late. It's not even 7:30 yet.
Yeah. Of course, I like the increased daylight that we're getting this time of year. Got a whistle, and looks like it's going to be a change of possession to Eastern View. I want to tell you this broadcast brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. And Found & Sons, more than a respected funeral home, they support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530. Connor Weeks has it for the Cyclones. And our score, 11-5 or 12-5?
It is 12-5.
12-5.
It's 12-5 with about 8:24 remaining on the clock and ticking.
Well, here's Connor Weeks. He was looking for Donovan Elliott. And ball got away from him. JM will go back on offense here. Up the field they go. McLean Maynor is number 14. There's Maynor. He looks for a cutter. He's got one coming toward the net. Turning, spinning, taking a shot. Was number 7, Matthew Franklin. Turned back. But running it down is Jake Wack for James Monroe. Well, if you had an MVP for James Monroe, who would it be tonight?
It would definitely be Wack. I mean, Wack has 6 goals here this evening. He has just been dominating. Lamont, you mentioned his name a couple times. He's made a couple of those plays happen with some passing. So that's something that's really stood out to me for JM is they've moved the ball extremely well. They've passed it, they've possessed it, and we didn't see them really be able to get the offense going at all against Culpepper. Here tonight against Eastern View, they've been patient and they have been accurate.
Well, we talked about the scoring of Jake Wack. He's got 5 goals? Okay.
6 goals.
He's got the hat trick times 2. But just a moment ago, he wasn't looking to score. He was looking to assist. He had his teammate, Evan Craig, break open across the middle in front of that goal. And Craig wasn't able to complete the play, but it was Wack on the distribution end of that one. We've got an injured Cyclone player being attended to here.
And that's Connor Weeks. That is not
No, it's number
well.
2,
is it number 2? I thought it was number 3.
Evan Edwards?
Oh, is that Evan Edwards in this down? I apologize.
I think, doesn't Connor Weeks have the longer hair?
Yeah, Weeks is down. I'm sorry. Weeks is on a knee. I thought that was a 3, but it's a 2. So if it's that is Evan Edwards is down. That is still not good for the offense. We see Nolan Natali coming in to replace him. So Edwards is up. That's a good sign, but he is moving gingerly. Let's put it that way. Is that a foot issue? I hope he's okay. He's got the
Didn't take him long to get back up on his feet. That's always a good sign, right, Jeff?
It is. He's moving like me, like how I move in the morning.
Becomes quite an adventure, doesn't it?
It does.
Coming to the sidelines. We've told you that when we're live this year, our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Here in the fourth quarter we are, 7:25 to play. Eastern View on the attack here. Donovan Elliott. Now over to Connor Weeks. And Weeks, I really like his stick work and I like his footwork. You mentioned he's quick, Jeff, and obviously you want that person to be in that position he's playing. Elliott took a shot, runs up to save, and coming away with it is his teammate there, Luke DeMont.
Well, you mentioned Connor Weeks, and we just had the Kentucky Derby, and Weeks, the way that he was trotting there a little bit, it kind of reminds me of a thoroughbred. Just get really fluid motion, doing a nice job of moving those feet and be able to stay mobile. And that's what we've seen him bring to this Cyclone team, that his movement is just so fluid.
Well, we've enjoyed seeing Connor Weeks on the lacrosse field and on the football field as well. Connor Weeks, one of the 11 seniors on this year's team.
One of the 11 seniors. Nice goal.
Oh, here's a goal scored by Donovan Elliott, there, number 7. And the game ain't over until it's over, right?
And that makes it 12-6, so still just a 6-goal lead here for JM. If the Cyclones are able to string a few together, they can get right back in this. 6:28 remaining in the game, Mark. And the Cyclones, I think, still have a shot.
Well, back to the face-off, all-important face-off, and it's been Nolan Natale all the way for Eastern View and Jack Clessy for James Monroe. Become highly acquainted with each other tonight. A lot of face-offs.
Natale really, I feel, dominated the first half, and then Clessy here in the second half has done a much better job for JM. And really, that they've put together a solid, complete game. The Yellow Jackets have, Mark.
This is Clessy on the move, and they may have said he stepped out of bounds.
But JM is just playing.
Never mind.
Timeout for JM as they look to maintain possession.
That was pretty good stick work and footwork by Jack Clessy. Timeout on the field. Well, you know, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community at 547-3673. Well, you talked about looking for trends, Jeff, and our score at half was what? 11-3? No, 8-3.
Score at the half was 8-3. JM scored 3 times in the third quarter, made it 11-3, and now Eastern View has scored 3 times in the fourth quarter to JM's one whack goal. So it's now 12-6 in favor of the Yellow Jackets.
Is it? Do you think, given that we've got about 6 minutes to play, is it going to be too much, too little, too late, or there's still enough time left for Eastern View to really make a late surge and maybe make this one really close and go down to the end?
We've seen some strange things happen in the years that we've covered lacrosse, so I never say a team is out, and 6-goal lead is not insurmountable, that's for sure.
Correct. I agree. Well said. All right. Following the timeout, JM has it on offense, and right now that means Luke DeMont, number 2. You're looking at him in the center of your screen there. And he passes to his teammate, Rylan White. We mentioned White's name quite a few times in that first half as well. Not as frequently, of course, as Luke DeMont or Jake Wack. But good-looking JM team here tonight. They've got a good chance to get out of to leave Cyclone Stadium tonight with a win if they can play smart here and force the action, which they just do here with Luke DeMont as he got centered, turned around, unleashed a shot that Matthew Greenfield couldn't catch up with. And after that timeout, Yellow Jacket goal, Jeff.
Yeah, they just drew that one up, and DeMont really made that one happen. We've seen him moving the ball around and passing really well, but that is his 3rd goal here tonight. DeMont with the hat trick. Instead of creating a goal with his passing, that time he creates a goal with his stick and making it happen with a nice shot.
And he comes away, well, did come away with it there for a moment following that face-off, only to lose it to Davion Wilkerson of Eastern View. Now, if you're Eastern View, you certainly got to play with some sense of urgency here. As Connor Weeks thinking about it, he does unleash a shot, and he beats Perungzip. He went high and found top shelf as Weeks answers for Eastern View.
Well, we talked about the Cyclones needing to change the direction of their shots and be able to switch it up, and that time, we've seen Perungzip do a really good job of adjusting and be able to make some low saves. That time, Weeks goes high, and I think making that adjustment and be able to change the angle of the shot is what the Cyclones need to do to get back in this game.
And we're looking at 13-7 now,
with about 5:06 left in the game.
And Nolan Natale winning this face-off for Eastern View. Connor Weeks gives chase. It's going to go out of bounds, and they'll turn it over to James Monroe. So we mentioned that Eastern View came into tonight's game with a record of 1 win against 6 losses. A lone win against the Blue Devils earlier in the season at Broman Field. most recently in action against Fauquier. That didn't go so well. I don't think it's gone well for most teams against Fauquier. So the game of the regular season is probably going to be Thursday when Fauquier plays Brentsville District, Jeff.
Well, I asked Chris Frazier who was the better team, Brentsville or Fauquier, and he leaned a little bit towards Brentsville, but I still think that's going to be one of the best games we're going to see all year is when Brentsville and Fauquier match up because, man, we saw Fauquier against Culpepper, and I was just impressed.
Well, I think both teams probably have that sort of skill level and firepower that it might depend on who's particularly on when they play, because I think either team's capable of winning, don't you?
And if somebody's injured or somebody's out, that it can make all the difference. And I know Faukier's got a couple banged up players right now, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond against a very talented Brentsville District team.
Here's our phantom player who got loose, stumbled, and fell to the ground, and we don't have a change of possession with that. Lamont winding up, taking a shot. He bounced it toward the goal. This one went wide. We got a penalty flag down, and in a game that's been almost penalty-free for the most part.
And that one's going to be against the Cyclones, so a delayed penalty right now as JM looks to create something.
Now they'll stop it because there's a change of possession. They would, so basically what they let them do, Jeff, is if the penalty's against the team without the ball, they'll let the team in possession, see if they can finish their sequence, right?
Absolutely. It's just like a power play, delayed penalty call in hockey.
And that's a slashing call being assessed against Eastern View. And it may be against Nolan Natali here. Or maybe not. Let's see who they assess it against.
And Natali is coming off number 11. Jalen Tanner is coming in for the Cyclones, but it looks like that's going to be against Davion Wilkerson, who's going to maybe be in the penalty box.
Yep, yeah,
he's
like
going.
It is.
He's going to be assessed to Davion Wilkerson.
I don't think he wanted to be in the penalty box. I think he's trying to lean against his teammate there, number 24, Ronaldo Torres, and he said, "No, got to sidestep here to the left into that penalty box." All right, advantage, James Monroe. 3:07 to play, clock ticking. 13-7 our score. JM, an opportunity here. He took a shot. This one defended, and now the teams vie for possession. Coming away with it at Eastern View, they'll try to beat this penalty clock as Connor Weeks is on the move here. Here's Weeks. Eastern View keeps it here as Donovan Elliott takes a shot. I'm not sure about that one. Did Perunzep get his stick on that one?
Yeah, Perunzep was able to guide that one away, and Eastern View hangs on to possession. Looks like Weeks in that X position, Mark.
He really does some good work back there in that X. Here's a shot that was taken. And Karam's out of harm's way as JM comes back the other way. Both teams back to full strength. We're approaching the 2-minute mark of this fourth quarter. It is 13-7 in favor of the Yellow Jackets.
And Mark, I'll say, one thing we said about the Yellow Jackets is they're playing much better offensively and defensively, but also tonight the bounces have gone their way. So sometimes lady luck plays a part in this game, and we've seen that here a couple times tonight, that the bounce just has not gone Eastern View's way.
Luck be a lady tonight, Jeff.
One of my
Lady
favorite,
Luck.
One of my favorite Sinatra songs.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Well, always did like his songs, didn't you?
I did. I'm an old soul.
Hmm.
I enjoy the Sinatra and the crooners and the Rat Pack.
Well, we're down to 1:25 here and counting. In the fourth quarter, JM's going to get a win here tonight.
And speaking of the Rat Pack, would you call JM the Whack Pack tonight?
Well, you might, but before you do so, well, actually, that might be a good thing to call them, since it looks like Jake Wack has added another one to his laurels here tonight. And that is what? He already had the hat trick twice, right?
So that's 7 goals for Wack in the Whack Pack, in the Whack Attack this evening. So 14-7, half of those goals belong to Jake Wack.
Something tells me that if you were writing the story, you'd have fun with this one.
I would be whack heavy on the puns.
Certainly would give someone a lot to write about. And, Plessy has handled the face-off duties tonight for JM pretty well. Eastern View has won its share of the face-offs. Donovan Elliott was trying to pushed that ball in there with Perungzip denying him. Tried to alter his method of delivery to try to fool Perungzip. He did not. Minute 8 to play here in the fourth quarter. 14-7 our score. JM's going to pick up a big win here tonight at Cyclone Stadium.
And Mark, I just can't stress how impressed I've been with the complete 180 we've seen from JM compared to a week ago. This is a completely different team.
Are you sure it's the same team?
I'm wondering if they had some people out against Culpepper, and whoops.
Whoa, there's a goal. This one scored by number 7, Donovan Elliott. Well, they're not done yet. 14-8.
Go Cyclones, number 7.
But now the clock is not in Eastern View's favor. We talked about how the bounces haven't been in the Cyclones' favor. Well, now the clock on the wall is not in Eastern View's favor, as we are less than a minute to go, down by 6 goals. And really, that I feel like that third quarter where JM kept Eastern View off the scoreboard looms large, because Eastern View has turned it up a little bit of a notch here in the fourth.
Jack Klesse comes away with it off the face-off until it's jarred loose. And right now, that's Connor Weeks who picks it up. Here comes Weeks, watch out. Well, I don't know. I thought a little bit of a breakdown that defense there, as Connor Weeks was able to get in really striking distance of that goal. He scores just like that. Now it's what, 14-9?
5-goal lead now for JM, and Weeks made that one happen. He was able to get that ground ball. He won the ground ball, and then he used his speed to get behind JM's defense, and he was able to beat Perungzip. And that time we saw him go kind of mid and a little bit low, different angle, and that cuts the lead to 5 goals, but now we're 40 seconds remaining.
Well, I think if JM, I don't know if they got a little complacent there, or if it was just the gritty effort of Connor Weeks and others to say, hey, we're not done, we're not giving up. So they've cut into this lead, but now the clock continues to run. We're down to 20 seconds and counting. And here's a shot that went wide. JM picks it up.
Unique shot right there by Wack. Almost, I would call it a sweeper shot, throwing it towards the net, but a nice save by Matt Greenfield.
Here's Rylan White, number 11, winding up. He takes a shot and scores for JM with 0.5 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock.
Goal, James Monroe.
And that'll be the final. There's 0.5 seconds remaining, as you mentioned, 15-9. JM comes out and spoils senior night for the Cyclones.
I don't know, Jeff. I mean, I know that JM was in control there and they were going to get the win, but it almost seemed like they probably needed a goal there late in this one, just to show that they're still able to bounce back despite Eastern View's little flurry of action here late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's a confidence builder. But, as I mentioned, this was a totally different-looking JM team that we saw a week ago.
Well, our final score here at Cyclone Stadium is Yellow Jackets 15 and Cyclones 9. And, Jeff, you've done a great job tonight. Of course, you mentioned the Wack attack. Jake Wack, what was it, 7 goals for him tonight?
7 wacky goals this evening.
He took Wack's 7 goals against the Cyclones 9, and he certainly had. He was certainly the catalyst for this Yellow Jacket team. But he had some help. And then you had 3 goals by DeMont, and you had 1 by Matthew Franklin, and some others. But well done by JM tonight. And so I want to go back to Eastern View with this loss. Now they're down to 2 games remaining on the regular season schedule. They will have Meridian, formerly George Mason, on Thursday, and then next Monday they wind up the regular season at Bealton to take on Liberty. Your final thoughts, Jeff, before we sign off for tonight?
Well, that was a wacky win for JM. Okay, I'm done with the whack puns, I promise. That was just a gritty win by JM, come back after a tough loss against Blue Devils last week, and as I mentioned, this was a completely different squad that we saw for the Yellow Jackets. They played aggressive offensively and defensively, and for Eastern View, a bittersweet loss as their 11 seniors for the last time on their home field. And I know that Chris Frazier is going to miss this squad because they've grown up together.
All right. Very good, Jeff. Once again, final score 15-9 in favor of JM. For Johnny and Jeff, I'm Mark O'Connell saying thanks for watching and supporting Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpepper Media Network. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you soon. Take care.